I'm Matt.
I'm Shane.
And if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that thumbs up button real hard, and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks.
And also click that little bell for all of the notifications.
Whee!
Always remember,
If Trailer Trash can do it,
anyone can do it.
It's time.
let me tell you something, brother. The mega powers have finally come together, brother, and all the tens of Markamaniacs are here. This collaboration for Aquaman spoilers.
Oh yeah, dig it.
And I guess that makes Lantern Miss Elizabeth. So,
Yes.
There we
The female.
go. All right. So,
all right, round two, guys.
Round two. Yes.
Supposed-
Warner Brothers called us. We need to do reshoots.
Oh man! So
and let's hope this doesn't turn out like Justice League, and
Yeah.
these shoots are better.
yeah, we could
Yeah.
splice things together from the first one to this one.
Right. Make it all choppy as shit.
I might
What are
honestly,
they
I might
talking
honestly
about?
put the first fucking. I might chop that first one, the Hulkamaniacs one, from
Yeah,
that one
But
into this
then
one.
all of a sudden the audio changes.
What
Yeah.
Anyway, so due to some minor technical difficulties, the first time we recorded this on Saturday, some of the audio got distorted, so it didn't make a really good podcast. And we're both driven; we're all driven for better quality in the audio, so we didn't want anything to sound like crap. So here is round two for this. We're gonna do this again. Lantern is at his normal bedtime now of owl time. And
No, and he's rearing, ready to go.
I know, we're dying.
It's not his bedtime. It's past my bedtime
yeah,
already.
we're already dying.
Night's just started. Night's just...
I think we wake up when Lantern goes to bed.
Yeah, probably.
That's probably about right.
So we're here. Thank you, Lantern2814, for coming on the show.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Looking forward to this. I wish that first one didn't fail because that was some pretty good stuff. But
Well, I think we can reenact it a little bit.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, replicate it. Maybe do better. Who knows?
Yeah, you already sound great.
Probably not.
You sound good on the other end, so this should work out.
Yeah, fingers fucking
We're trying a
crossed.
different source here to record. So let's get into it. We're gonna do Aquaman spoilers. That's right, all the spoilers for Aquaman. And we haven't had some time to marinate on it now, because now we're recording this on Thursday, December someday, 2 days after Christmas. So
Right.
27th.
December someday. I like that.
Well, fuck this pocket. It's always just blends together.
Yo, yeah,
Fucking
for
holidays.
sure. Oh, it's New Year's already. Okay, great.
Yeah. So we're gonna do some fucking total spoilers. Are you guys ready for spoilers?
I am.
All right,
All right. Let's talk about the positives.
all right.
Positive first.
Let's want me to give our generic stats.
Oh yeah, I guess go ahead.
Now,
for that.
as of
now we actually got some box office. We didn't have it
Oh,
before.
yeah. So currently sitting at $122 million domestically, $473 million foreign, for a whopping $596 million worldwide. It is currently number one in theaters.
God damn.
Yeah. So pretty crazy. Released domestically December 21st. So we are sitting on about 6 days there domestically.
It's tracking to hit $1 billion.
Yeah, some of those reports coming out saying it may hit $1 billion, which I find out of all the DC movies, Aquaman would be the one to hit $1 billion. Is kind of the last one you would
I'll
think would
fucking
hit $1
shit
billion.
myself. Yeah, no kidding.
Out of all of them. But
That's-
Yeah.
So audience score on Rotten Tomatoes 82%. Not even gonna talk about the other one because I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Oh wait, and IMDb. I thought I had it up, was not prepared. 7.6 out of 10. So that has not changed since the last time we recorded
really, you can
this.
remember that?
Yeah, it was. I'm almost positive it's exactly the same.
I'll check the old audio just to make sure.
oh, thanks, fact checker, asshole.
Yeah, remember, you're gonna hear it probably.
Fake news. It was 7.4.
He was off, motherfuckers. Hey, if he actually did remember that, you all should give him a round of applause.
Oh yeah.
Insert round of applause audio here.
I thought you were mad at me because I was basically saying you got a memory of a goldfish, but okay.
No, it's accurate.
Yeah.
Why would I be mad? All right, so into the pros now.
All right, Leonard, go ahead. Give us your pros.
The pros. Well, I actually saw the movie again since the last time we recorded.
Oh,
And, you know, I really liked it the second time around. That first time I saw it, I was kind of like mixed on it. But like this next time around, like all those little problems I had kind of like went away. And Yeah, man, those action sequences are so fucking good. I mean, like, I can't really compare it to another comic book movie because I haven't seen it in another comic book movie really. With all that, one camera movements and stuff. Even the opening like 10 minutes, you get Mira, and there's just one tracking shot of her fighting in the house, and it never cuts away. And a lot of the movies like that, and I really like James Wan for doing that.
You mean Queen Atlantean?
Queen Atlanta.
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I said Mira, didn't I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a
No.
fan.
Again, all out the action. We talked about this. The action and the CGI, the overall look of the movie is phenomenal. All of a sudden now people need to find a nitpick about the movie, and
Yeah.
CGI hair apparently is an issue or something.
I thought
What?
Yeah.
I saw some people. I saw some articles now. They're bitching about the hair look or
Right.
something,
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh.
like it's the nitpicking of just the movie is doing well, so now we gotta. I've seen this with really every comic book movie, but everybody always starts realizing later on. It always takes like about a week. There's always an issue with something, or there was something stupid like going on.
Well, when it comes to DC,
Yeah, but I see
Oh,
it
yeah.
with Marvel too. Like I remember when everybody's talking about Thanos was the best in Infinity War, but then it took about a week. Then everybody's like, his plan is actually really stupid.
yeah,
It's-
genocide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it actually
make a
doesn't
whole
really
lot of
make
sense.
sense.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people, not to get onto an Infinity War tangent, but I've seen a lot of people that are like, no, that's actually very relatable. Oh, really?
What?
Killing half the world is relatable. Got it.
He could just make more resources, right? Like, why does he have to kill half the universe?
So it usually takes a
Oh,
week
man.
for someone to do it, but
Yeah.
it just seems like with this one, I mean, I have my issues with Aquaman. We will get to them.
Yeah.
It seems like the CGI is probably the last on that
Oh,
list to
man.
even nitpick. Like, there's other things wrong with this movie.
Yeah,
To-
absolutely.
To nitpick the CGI is just stupid. It's incredible, and just the feat that they were able to do in this movie with the CGI and even the tracking shots, just the look. I talked about this in our first podcast. I may say that a lot in this one. But,
yeah.
but that fight in Italy with
Mm-hmm.
Aquaman and Mira versus Black Manta and his little crew of misfits from
Yeah. Good
from
squad.
from Atlantis, the putties. As they that is, I think we might start seeing that a lot in future comic book movies, because the way he shot that, I thought was just amazing. How he just kind of pans over to each person, protagonist in this case with Aquaman and Mira, and you can kind of see sometimes Mira in the background, or you see Aquaman, Jason Momoa's in the background as well fighting, and the way he does the shots, and there's sitting shots. There's no jump cuts. It's sitting shots, and that one shot of the Atlantean guard running through the houses and stuff,
Mhm.
and it's just a tracking shot behind him, one continuous shot as he's
Yeah.
jumping through the buildings. That whole filming sequence, especially in that part, is just beyond fantastic, and I guarantee people are going to start stealing that. You're going to see that in future MCU movies, and you might see it in future DC movies as well. But you're going to see shit like that more and more, because that took it up to a next level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially that Italy fight. That took it up to the next level. You had a bunch of practical mixed with some CGI,
Mhm.
but a lot of practical, and it just felt like the city was alive and, well, in that case, getting destroyed and dead. But it was there, and it felt great, and I really commend him for that. So to start bitching about CGI or some of that shit in any way, that's the least of this movie's issues.
Yeah, I talked about this, I believe, in a non-spoiler as well, and the first go around of this. But I'm really excited for the behind the scenes. I've started seeing some things that have kind of leaked out a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought for what they were up against, for what they were trying to create, was phenomenal. And to bitch and nitpick about the CGI, yeah, there's a couple green screen issues here and there. But the entire movie, the overall movie, the CGI, phenomenal. I thought the hair. I mean, we couldn't remove a fucking mustache a movie ago, and like the hair, I thought actually worked really well. I was pretty surprised at how well it was able to flow. No pun intended. Together, and
Sound like a shampoo commercial.
I fucking might as well have been. I was blown away. That's one of my favorite parts. Obviously, the action, but the CGI, it was just so phenomenal. It was done really well.
And people act like they know exactly how hair is supposed to look in the water.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and
thought
we
it
all-
looked pretty good.
We all
Right.
got our video, right, of us just talking underwater, right?
yeah, right.
And all of our locks, our flowing
Yeah,
locks of hair,
exactly.
just float just perfectly in the water. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you even know, like, it was all those idiots before that saying Jason Momoa doesn't look very wet underwater.
Yeah,
Remember that?
yeah,
Yeah.
Stupid shit.
Can I go back to that Italy fight, because that moment where Black Manta falls off the cliff and he's like hitting like the rocks on the way down. Did that look real? Like, did they actually throw like a dummy off a cliff or something? Like, that shit looked awesome.
All I could think of was Homer Simpson.
Yeah,
Just hitting shit on the way down.
like that shit was brutal. I love that.
Yeah. And so again, another great positive is I actually really liked the camaraderie between Arthur Curry and his dad. I'm not familiar with the actor, but I just love that beginning scene with his dad. You never get that genuine of a fucking father son dude. Like, you know, you got Pa Kent and Clark Kent.
That one felt really natural too. I mean,
that one's solid. And then you got this one. I don't know. I personally loved it. They're drinking beers. He's making the sippy cup joke. Just seems like two dudes drinking beer. And unfortunately, got kind of ruined by a stupid joke. But other than that, I thought it was great. I would like to see that more and expanded, obviously, a lot more. And well, at this point, the money it's making, it's definitely getting a sequel.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Or some kind of tie-in. Maybe they'll do something with another character and Aquaman. But I would like to see that further explored. I really like that camaraderie with the dad and Arthur Curry.
Mm-hmm. I was like the CG on his face is probably like one of those parts where like people were thrown off at the beginning with his dad and everything. But I watched it again on a just a regular theater screen, and it's a lot harder to tell. I wonder if like watching it on Blu-ray, it's even going to be harder. Like it doesn't like look that bad. Like it looks bad in like IMAX, but like it doesn't look that bad on a regular movie screen. So I wasn't bothered by that much.
We didn't see it in IMAX, but when we saw it in theaters, I didn't even realize they de-aged him and
Willem Dafoe.
As well.
Absolutely.
I didn't even realize they de-aged him until they went back to him present day, and I just realized his old ass face. So I was like, oh shit! I didn't even realize they like stretched his face backwards and tightened it up a little bit in those flashbacks, and I was like, oh shit! I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it. So
Again, with what they were up against and with what we've seen in the past, you can even look at Tony Stark, where they made him younger. I just thought the CG was incredible. Whatever company did this movie, I think just for that stuff alone deserves an Oscars, especially what it was up against. That was something that
we did talk about that.
Yeah,
that Oscar list of nominations for visual effects, whether it's
bullshit.
I'm still not even sure if it's real. I don't know where people get this list from. This random list just started going around, and I just never found what the origin was. But it had movies like Ant-Man and Wasp, Infinity War, and Black Panther. Jurassic World, I think, was on there, and Aquaman wasn't. I can see people getting annoyed by that because I feel it's definitely better than all those movies. I mean, Jurassic World didn't look that great. Ant-Man and Wasp. Okay.
Yeah, how the hell is Ant-Man and Wasp on there and Aquaman's not? It's insane. It's
it's ludicrous, really. And Black Panther, I mean, Black Panther has its moments of great CGI, but it obviously has its terrible moments. It's like a really 50-50 movie when it comes to CGI. So pretty much from what I could tell, Aquaman's always on it. There's a couple bad green screen, but there's nothing that really pulls you out like some of the stuff that happens in Black Panther.
Yeah.
So for it to get snubbed like that, if that list is true, if that list is actually real, then yeah, that's kind of stupid. That's just being, I don't know, maybe it came in late. I don't know. I guess some people were saying Mary Poppins was on there. So.
Yeah, that was too.
I haven't seen it. I could see a film like that, or like Godzilla, or even Jurassic World to an extent, where the large amount of the movie the majority of it has to be CGI, and that was one thing that I was afraid of, kind of going into Aquaman. Was I wonder how cheesy this is going to be, how well the CG is going to make sense. And yeah, it's bright at a lot of parts. That's the route that they went with Atlantis. And just everything just being very bright and vibrant colors and everything. But I thought it worked so well, and I was incredibly impressed with that.
Yeah, I thought Atlantis looked amazing. I thought it was like the best part of the movie when we went underwater. Anytime we went underwater, I felt like the movie went up another level. Um, but Black Manta and his stuff at the beginning was also really good. Do you guys remember that scene where his dad is, dying and stuff like that? He's like pinned
Yeah,
down.
he's dying. Yeah.
Yeah, he's dying. Aquaman's not doing
Go on.
anything. Uh, uh, and Black Manta's like literally just says, "Please help me." Like, I thought that was such a real moment for like such a melodramatic performance. For all of a sudden, he gets really real and he's asking Aquaman for help and stuff. I felt there's a lot of good moments like that in the film, even though a lot of the actors were over the top and cheesy. There would be like small moments like that where it just got real for a second.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do want more of that, but I was happy with what I got.
Yeah, that part made me laugh a little bit. I don't know why, but one, he did it to himself. I mean, he shot the grenade, and it kind of was weird that there was an explosion, and I'm pretty sure those were all nukes.
Yeah,
have
giant ass
No
bombs.
nukes, no nukes. And I guess small blast doesn't rupture the nuke at all, so I guess it just floats to the bottom. And then they got shot up later on too by the Atlanteans and stuff.
Yeah,
so
that's a whole nother.
That's probably like one of the plot holes of the movie. I don't know how they got that sub back working and stuff.
I want to know who was driving it.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that drove the? Who's the guy that drew the short seaweed on that?
Was it a Lantern or something? Yeah.
That poor guy had to drive that thing. He's like, God damn it! And he's just going through and. All right, fire number one, and then they just start blasting back. Shit!
They didn't tell me about this part of the plan.
Trying to hit a U-turn and shit.
It kind of reminded me of. I think it's a Family Guy clip. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
Another kind of positive, obviously.
I go in store, I throw backpack, big boom. No, you
end
are big boom.
phenomenal.
Big
Like,
hero.
that kind of ties in with
Okay,
the,
right. So I
the
throw
action, the
backpack,
fighting,
come back and have
obviously,
big
as we
hero
talked about,
party with many virgins.
top-notch
No,
as well.
no.
I
You,
think,
boom.
I think the James Wan really put his touch on this, and that's what I will always appreciate about any movie. If I can tell there's a director put some extra effort in his own spin on a movie in some way, even if maybe I don't care too much for it or anything like that, as long as I could feel the director's personality, I will always appreciate that movie much more than any other movie, because that makes that movie unique and it doesn't feel like a corporate movie.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that we had talked about in the non-spoiler a little bit, of not like, and someone had commented, I believe I read it on our last attempt at recording, but it basically saying that no, these are supposed to be all part of the same story. They should almost stick to just Zack Snyder. And I disagreed and said if another director tried to do Zack Snyder's style, it would be a ripoff. And they need to have their own style. They need to have their own approach with it. And however it is that they want to have it as a part of the same universe, essentially the same story or whatever. But they need to have their own trademark and their it has to be, as Zack Snyder had put it, a what did he say? Like of directors, not by committee, a director type film, a filmmaker's movie, filmmaker's film, for lack of a better term, and not by committee. And that's what definitely this
felt
like.
Yeah,
you could definitely feel all his sensibilities in the film. I actually think the songs he used are like total James Wan songs, that he would have on his iPhone or something like that.
Yeah,
it sounds like something he would listen to.
Probably.
Honestly,
yeah, and sometimes that iPod shuffle thing should just stay right where it's at, because some of those choices were very
really
odd.
like the songs, but I could see like how he would use them and stuff. But yeah, that final battle was just incredible. My God, like I never thought I would see Aquaman in his full Aquaman glory, like with all the fish in the sea attacking and stuff like that. That was insane.
Oh yeah, you go a little Dr. Evil on there too. Is that sharks with lasers on their heads?
Yeah,
like, you just get all excited. Lasers. You get excited for it. And the crab people, from South Park. Crab people, crab. Like it was an epic battle. And then that whatever the hell that thing was, the Kraken version.
Oh,
whatever the hell that thing was. Holy crap! Who drew that one up?
Right.
We were talking about this obviously last time, but I was just wondering what drug they dropped to get all these
All
creature
this stuff,
designs,
yeah.
and I want to see the rejects.
Right.
I want to see what's too
Who didn't
weird
make it? Yeah.
to be put into that battle, because that shit's gonna be like an octopus with fucking extra arms and like fucking mounted rocket launchers and maybe a toilet, something like that. It's gonna have all kinds of features and stuff. Maybe
Absolutely.
heated seats. So you got any more positives, Lantern, about Aquaman?
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of little positives. Orem, fucking Orem,
Oh.
Patrick Wilson. Holy shit! I think he's probably one of the best villains in the DC universe. I really like Lex Luthor. I know a lot of people don't like Lex Luthor, but Lex Luthor's my number one, and right behind him is General Zod, and then right behind that is Patrick Wilson's Ocean Master. And the moment where he puts on his mask, like, I got goosebumps. Like, even the second time I watched it, like, I was like, oh, wow, like, I can't believe they did this.
Yeah, man, I can't believe I forgot about that. I'm sure I said that in the first one.
Probably not. It was all jacked up.
We forget sometimes. Actually, I remember in our first one, the one thing that we forgot to talk about until almost the very end, thanks to Lantern reminding us, was Black Manta.
Yeah.
I remember that. Like, we got through
what-
almost the whole review.
What
And
a
I'm like,
side
Mel,
story.
anything else to add? And he's like, what about Black Manta? I'm like, shit, we forgot Black Manta.
Chop it up. Put it at the beginning. Yeah, I thought overall a lot of definitely Orm. I thought the acting
Drago.
Drago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Drago.
Drago. Yeah. I thought the acting was pretty spot on. I thought they all worked well together. I called this out last time, but the teenage Aquaman was the only one. The teenage Arthur was the only kind of overactor, in my opinion. Everything else worked really well, and I don't like when someone's acting takes me out of it. It's one of the reasons, no offense to anyone who likes the CW shows, but some of the CW DC shows bug me because the acting is atrocious for the most part.
Yeah.
And so it takes you out of the moment where you're like, well, this is corny. And I thought for the corny aspects of Aquaman, the acting was not one of them, in my opinion. I thought that everyone worked well together, had really good chemistry for the most part. Go ahead. All right.
Yeah.
I guess.
no, we gotta stay positive.
Yeah, when we get into the negatives.
That also does remind me, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, of course. Arthur Curry, he's the most genuine character, man. I love everything he says. Almost anything he said, I thought was awesome. The way he delivered it, the way he did things, I thought was fantastic. He's definitely our definitive Aquaman. Probably for a while.
He felt very natural. Everything he said, they definitely wrote the character to fit him and his personality for sure. And, I think that was like one of my negatives I said in the last one, or like, something that kind of bothered me about the movie was that he wasn't really Arthur. He was more Jason Momoa the whole time. But, that's fine because I like watching Jason Momoa. He was really charismatic the whole time, and he brought so much life to the movie. Like, you got to take the good with the bad, I guess,
But Black Manta, as we were talking about before, some people didn't like the fact that he wasn't in it enough. Personally, for me, I thought he was in it just the right amount.
Yeah, perfect.
I didn't think he needed to be in it anymore, and I think anything less, it wouldn't have worked. But I mean, I did laugh at his little '80s montage building the suit thing, and like less than an hour, he just goes full MythBusters on this thing,
Right.
And I was trying to figure out the music. Like the music again was just odd, and I was waiting for Eye of the Tiger. Fucking, it's the thrill of the fight. And I was just waiting for that to kick in, but. He was a great character for the most part. They did kind of give him this one-dimensional scowl all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he'll probably work that through a little bit more in the future. But definitely,
you could see moments though.
Yeah,
you could see moments in Black Manta where he dropped that scowl and that like persona. Like when his dad like gets blown up and he's climbing up the ladder, you could see on his face that he's like hurt by it and stuff. Like I thought that was a good moment. He has a bunch of little moments like that, or like when he's surprised by the beams when he's working on it. Like the actor is good. I think he has range.
Yeah, I just don't know if this movie really let him accomplish that. And I think that kind of hurt. And also, I think some of the other actors kind of got hurt in this too by some of the overstuffedness. Like, I don't like using that word overstuffed because critics use it, and it just seems like to me it's like their inability to comprehend what the fuck's going on. So they're like, it's overstuffed. It's too much going on.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So and
make it more simplistic. Yeah.
Yeah. But in this one, I could kind of see it's like you got to fight for the crown. You got a mother, a disappearing mother act going on.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to get the trident, and then you have to do this. Then there's this great war going on to attack the I keep wanting to say land lovers, but it's not the proper terminology for the
land dwellers.
Land dwellers. Yeah, I can't want to say land lovers.
Surface dwellers. Yeah.
Surface dwellers.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had to think about it for a second.
Land lovers works for me.
And you kind of have that a little bit. Orm wipes out a couple cities, or maybe just one. Or
I think it's that one town or something.
that one town. He kind of really jacks. He threw all their garbage out.
Yeah.
The boats and all the military boats and everything. And
that was another funny part too, where it's like you and your crazy Atlantean theories.
Yeah,
it's like it's fucking obvious.
The only thing that I didn't like about that is like literally we've had Kryptonians, we've had the weirdest shit going on in this universe. Really, Atlanteans are far-fetched.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll buy that.
We have gods flying in the air that can destroy cities.
Yep.
But a couple people living in the sea, mermaid,
Yeah, can't believe that.
Ariel. Sebastian.
Under the sea, under the sea.
That's kind of wacky. You're getting crazy with your theories. But any more positives, Lantern, before we jump into the negatives?
Oh.
No. Okay.
I mean, the whole movie was. I had a great time watching the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
There was just a couple minor problems that I really had a problem with, like that one specific scene with Willem Dafoe and teenage Aquaman on the beach. That's probably the worst scene in the movie for me, by far. Like, by far.
I don't know. Him getting in the ship with Mira, where he says he smells like chum, that joke. That was easily the worst joke I think.
I don't understand how he could smell himself underwater. Like, right?
I don't know. I'm pretty.
There's a lot of Joss Whedon influence in there.
I don't know if it's Joss Whedon, but there was somebody. The C team writing team,
something.
definitely jumped in and threw in a couple really bad jokes every once in a while. Mm-hmm. I guess my biggest negative with this movie is the dialogue. I find the dialogue to be extremely simplistic. And it really takes you out of it sometimes. Now, not always. And some of it does have impact. There's parts where Mira and Arthur are talking, and she's talking about him being the person of two worlds, and like, you're the future king, you have to do this, you have to stop Orm. And that is fine. But then there's these moments where they're talking, and they're trying to be like personable, and like they're obviously two fucking incredibly hot people, and like they just touch hands, and like they look at each other and look at each other deeply, and okay, back to fighting, and then like some of the delivery that they have is just, it's bad.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I think that's where, even though a lot of the characters did have chemistry, I feel that the dialogue did a disservice to them, and some of the situations they were kind of put in, you're like, this just makes it more awkward, as opposed to it coming off a little bit more natural.
Right.
There's a lot of bad things to say about the dialogue in the movie. But there is like a couple moments where it is really good. That right before the Ring of Fire, and Jason Momoa was talking to him. He's like, I always wanted to meet my little brother and stuff like that. That felt really real, and Orm's response felt real too. Like you're the reason our mother died and stuff like that. Like that was some of the best stuff in the movie. But it's only like a couple minutes out of the film, really.
Yeah,
and
pretty much any interaction though with Arthur and Orm.
It was great.
Sweet.
Yeah,
it is pretty great. It's like
there's some shining moments for sure.
It's mainly the Amber Heard, Jason Momoa thing, like that really takes over a lot of the movie. Is their chemistry? Like they're supposed to have chemistry. We have in this universe, we have Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor. We have Lois and Clark, and like those are two of like some of the best fucking relationships and chemistry feeling moments that we get in the DC universe, and this one just does not at all land like this. It's bad. It's really really bad, and it takes you out sometimes. My girlfriend was with us when we watched this movie, and her eyes almost damn near hit me because they were rolling so far because she could not get over the dialogue and some of the interaction between them. She was just laughing at some of it. I felt like some of the moments are rushed. I brought this up in our non-spoiler, but I felt like some of the moments were rushed. Again, that little bit of that overstuffed feel because you're trying to show Volko training Arthur Curry, and like I made this comparison. Like with First Flight, you get it's really drawn out, it's poetic. The music behind it is great. You see him fail at first and then drive to get better. In the dialogue with Russell Crowe in the background is just phenomenal. And then you see what I call First Swim, when he goes back and it's kind of a flashback.
Yeah, that was a very clunky way to go into that transition. That was very clunky.
Yeah, and then it shows him diving with the dolphins, trying to be Flipper. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Maybe he played a lot of Echo when he was a kid, that game with the dolphin. Oh my God. No one's going to get that. That's an old NES game called Echo.
Nice.
Where you try to dodge sharks. Anyway, maybe somebody will get it in the comments. But it's like it was just so rushed.
Yeah.
You didn't get that feeling that you got with like Man of Steel. And again, they kind of packed some things together. I felt everything was convenient a lot of the times, he just goes in there, he just comes out, and we talked about it in the non-spoiler. WB for showing the fucking suit in the trailers are morons.
Yeah.
They did it again with their stupid choices.
And I knew it was the second I saw it in the trailer. I knew it was a big mistake. Like why would you show this? Like, just say
as soon as they started talking about the Trident, I was like, oh crap. This is this is the moment. This is the whole thing this movie's building up. This is the MacGuffin of the movie. Like this is that whole buildup, and they already showed it in the trailer.
Yeah.
I was just like, come on.
The typical. I think just to touch on what you're talking about, my biggest problem with this movie is how much it was having a hard time identifying what it wanted to be. And as Matt said, I don't have a problem, and I do get annoyed when critics say, "Oh, this movie's overstuffed," all these things, because it does come across as, "Oh, you can't comprehend something other than a linear story." But in this one, because of the moments that you had talked about, and because of Black Manta, I feel didn't really work in this, and I wanted to see more. Same with the relationship between Aquaman and his father, or Aquaman and his mother, or Aquaman and Orm. Like there's so much that was going on that it didn't really, no moment could breathe, and you can really feel it because it was trying to be rushed along because there was a lot going on. And then they, like you said, they have to go and get the Trident, and it's an action adventure.
First they got to find the voicemail that he left to find the Trident,
right?
Yeah, and so you have to find that one. So
it's just, and then it's also supposed to be an origin story, so here's how he figures out his powers. And so it's just, so much of it was rushed along, that I feel that that is probably the biggest downside of the film, and aspects that I didn't enjoy of it were because you didn't get enough of whatever it was, Manta, or pick your poison kind of thing. And so that was the biggest downside for me.
It's like you had all these moments that when James Wan was tweeting out stuff about, they showed Fisherman King, and you're like, wow, look at the practical effects, and look at the way he looks. It's an amazing feat how they just made this guy look. He's literally in the movie for like 10 seconds before they axe him. Yeah. Like he says a couple words and he's done.
That's what makes me think the movie was cut down, like at least 20 minutes. They definitely had more with the Fisherman Kingdom. They definitely had more, like with the Volko and young Jason Momoa. Yeah. They definitely cut down a lot of stuff for sure.
I don't know, Lantern, the second time you saw it, if did it feel like it was the first time I saw Aquaman, I felt like it was a long movie. Like at moments it felt like it dragged along. Did it feel, after seeing it the second time, did it kind of move along a little bit better because you kind of knew what
I knew what to expect. Yeah, it definitely moved along a little better. But the second we got to that fucking Volko scene on the beach, like the movie comes to a grinding halt, he's just looking right to the camera, giving like 10 pages of exposition. I don't understand what they were thinking. Why didn't they have flashbacks? Why didn't we see Queen Alanta get thrown into the trench? Like, why didn't we see any of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. They must have filmed it, but I maybe they just didn't do it for time or something.
Yeah, that's the odd part of this movie is even though you can tell that they had to cut a bunch down to fit a lot into it, it also still feels incredibly long at some points. And that's what I couldn't really wrap my mind around. Like, why does this movie feel like it's dragging along? But also, I can't identify with anything, and and figure out, okay, who am I supposed to connect with, and in each scene because it moves along so quickly. Even one of my favorite scenes is the battle with Aquaman and Orm, and I feel like it just gets passed along almost. It's super fast, and all of a sudden Mara's saving him, and boom, they're off.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, that was quick, and that was a cool moment. Yeah. So it was odd choices.
I mean, it felt like it was longer. I mean, because some of the scenes felt longer because of the dialogue. It was so dialogue heavy, and the dialogue wasn't that interesting. But yeah, the action sequences flew by because it was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that we talked about the first time around was like how this doesn't seem to connect to. Well, I mean, it does connect to Justice League, but it's very confusing if you watch Justice League and then watch this. Somebody actually left us a comment recently saying, what do you think about people saying the Snyder Cut isn't canon to, like, Aquaman? And right now, I honestly feel like neither one of these Justice League movies, like, we haven't seen the Snyder Cut, so we don't really quite know.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like none of them are fucking canon. Like, Justice League doesn't make any sense because he meets Mira, but then in this he reacts to her like it's just like either the only second time he's ever met her, but somehow in Justice League he's able to get armor from her. I think he got the armor from her because he says, "I need one thing from you," and then he has the armor.
Yeah,
and he's pissed off at his mom in Justice League, right? Yeah. For abandoning him, and there's none of that in Aquaman, which would have been a good little story beat to have. That he feels abandoned, like that would have been nice. But
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah,
I think it was definitely evident that they're trying to move on from whatever has been established, and after kind of sitting on it a little bit more and thinking about it since the last time we recorded this, one of the problems that I had that is kind of a disappointment is the lack of Easter eggs, the lack of tie-ins to whatever it is, to Man of Steel. With him and the oil rig, there's very slight ones, but
we talked about that in the first one when he's showing them that like the images of all what the surface dwellers have done, and I kind of think that maybe is a possible Man of Steel Easter egg when it shows the
burning oil rig.
The burning oil rig, and then I also I remember the other one now was when he's in the submarine, he rips the door off,
right.
But he has the guy there. It should have been him there, shirtless, on fire.
Yeah.
It was saving those people. I don't know why he's on fire, but he should have been on fire.
Yeah.
Ultimate Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly. Just for shits and giggles. But I feel like there was, you could talk about the terraforming in the Indian Ocean.
When they were showing the Indian Ocean, I was like, it would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
they should have showed it.
See some of the fucking terraforming.
You almost get nothing. It's really, and there might be very small Easter eggs, but there's hardly any callbacks. Yeah, that's about it. Of like, hey, oh, by the way, this movie's tied to the previous ones. If you didn't know, okay, moving right along. And I'm kind of now more excited for that in Shazam. I hope there are more Easter eggs. We've seen some of them. Hopefully they keep them in the fucking final cut. And I hope we see more. I hope there's more tie-ins because that's one thing that I think Marvel does well is throwing in things to kind of let you know, hey, this is a part of the same universe.
In the beginning.
Yeah, they do too much of it though. Like every fucking movie's like has 8 characters like from other movies.
And I don't necessarily mean the characters. I agree with you, Lantern. Sometimes they can get overstuffed. I just mean kind of referencing very small references in dialogue of a previous movie of something that has happened. That's not talking about like Civil War where it shows everything. But I wanted more of that. I wanted a little bit more of
continuity.
Yeah, and I feel it was a missed opportunity. And maybe that's because the studio is like, hey, let's kind of half ignore everything that has happened, and then we can create our own
fresh start
continuity. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I just said continuity.
Yeah, you say that.
Continuity.
I just like continuity.
You got Aquaman on the brain.
That's it, right? I guess another one of my big cons would be the amount of movie tropes, especially like action adventure movie tropes that are in this fucking movie.
It was very generic.
It takes you out quite a bit. I listed some that I can remember off the top of my head. For Black Manta, obviously the father's killed by the hero. Sort of. He's not saved by him, and so that automatically gives the motive for the villain. Now it's a revenge story, sort of, and then that kind of gets pushed to the side. The dead mother being found on the island, and I put dead in quotes. I'm like, of course she is. She finds this, the center of the earth, and she's gonna be the one that saves Mira, and of course it is, because that happens in every fucking movie, like probably Journey to the Center of the Earth. Yeah. I'm sure that happened in. And then has to beat a monster to retrieve an item. Very, very similar to Clash of the Titans, kinda. So, and then even to the point where in most action adventure movies, there's like a waterfall and they have to like jump across these stones. Like, you remember Power Rangers, the movie? I know I'm throwing this back a little bit, but there's a scene where they're like, okay, now we have to go over here and we're going to jump across these stones. He's fucking Aquaman and he's jumping across stones. I'm like, is that intentionally overdone? Like, it made me laugh. I'm like, that's a little bit too much. The end battle, as cool as it was, of course, there's a spinning fan that they're going to kind of get close to. And I was surprised it didn't have anything to really do with the ending. But Aquaman does throw Orm's head like kind of in it a little bit, and it starts chopping because of course it's got to be there. There's always
like fucking something out of Austin Powers.
Yeah, there's always giant spinning fans that are just happen to be there. No, we have to fight away from that.
What were those? Were those propellers from a boat that got flipped or something? I don't understand.
I think so. I think it was like the submarine. Maybe.
To be perfectly honest, I had no idea what the fuck they were fighting on.
Yeah, like what was?
Like, I was lost. I had no idea what they're fighting on. She's like, he fought in his environment last time. Now it's time for him to switch it up. So like they're on top of this weird thing with these propellers. I'm like, I have no clue.
Where did this thing come from?
No,
but you got to have the propellers. You have to.
Yeah.
You got these big fans, and they're somehow going to play into the final battle. It's just weird. And then obviously the biggest one, probably the most corny, is when. Is it the Queen Atlantia is running towards, and she does like the big arm hug.
Oh yeah, she takes like 4 steps though.
Yeah,
it's like right there.
Yeah, and here we are. Boom. There's that.
It wasn't a very big dog.
Yeah. So most of those, I was chuckling. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be done.
Yeah, the self-awareness.
Like ironically, kind of like it was kind of odd, and I was laughing probably when I wasn't supposed to, because I'm like, yeah. A fucking course. Of course it is. So.
Yeah, Queen Alanta on the Journey to the Center of the Earth moment. I don't think anybody was fooled by that. It's like, I think everybody in the theater was like,
that was not a surprise.
Yeah. They were trying to make that one. They failed. But, the cool thing about the Center of the Earth moment is that there's dinosaurs, which means that we can have a dinosaur in the Batcave now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
We just gotta get Aquaman thrown into the fucking earth. Yeah, Batman.
Batman. He could survive. Yeah.
Somehow. He'll figure out a way. He's Batman.
So last time we kind of did this, and I'm even more intrigued actually now because of what I've seen lately. But we kind of ranked the DC movies for the most part. And I think Shane and I were... Oh, our bottom 2 was different. We argued about that for a second.
Yeah.
But Shane and I were almost identical, but it would be Man of Steel 1, BVS Ultimate Edition 2, Wonder Woman 3, Aquaman 4, and then our bottom 2 flipped back and forth. Shane was Suicide Squad Justice League. I was Justice League Suicide Squad. And everybody thinks I'm fucking crazy for putting Suicide Squad at the bottom. I hate that movie. I really hate that fucking movie. And I guess I really hate Justice League, but I can kind of like see a little bit of hope in it every once in a while. Like you can see those Zack Snyder scenes and what they really meant in some aspects. So I kind of like, there it is. And you can feel like you can reach out. But like with Suicide Squad, I just loathe it. I just hate everything about it.
It's funny because that's my exact feelings, but you switch the movies. Like I feel like with Justice League, I get angered at the amount of missed opportunities and how shit was just butchered.
I guess I'm there with you. But just for some reason, I look at Suicide Squad and I'm like, you just are a hunk of shit. Like you are so confused. I guess Justice League too. I feel like you could swap.
They're almost one and the same.
I was about to say you get so confused on what your tone is, and I guess the same thing with fucking.
I think for me, Suicide Squad is still somewhat of an enjoyable movie.
I can't enjoy it.
Missed
That ending
opportunities
is
with
so bad.
there are aspects, that are bad, but it's still enjoyable.
You saw the extended cut, right?
Yeah, where she can surf a motorcycle. That
Yeah,
really
surf the motorcycle.
Yeah, but Justice League, I've seen. I unfortunately own it, but and I watching it at home. So,
I don't own Justice League.
I don't know it either.
My kids really
blame
loved
the
it.
kids.
Blame
the children.
Well, and I also bought it because I wanted the extra scenes that were
on
the extra scene. Yeah, exactly. That extra scene. I was like, you motherfuckers. But even watching it again with my kids, I was frustrated. I was just like, I can't believe this fucking movie exists. Like there are that's
how I feel about Suicide Squad.
That's like Justice League is almost the ultimate cock tease because there are moments where you're like, okay, it's getting good. Nope, fuck you. We're gonna have Justice League shit and intermixed, and you're like, wow, this is great. Like almost from the very beginning of that. I know this is an Aquaman spoiler review, but the very beginning of Justice League. It's just trash all the way through, and it's frustrating to watch. Where I just want to punch somebody. And no, I do not abuse my kids. if
they are the closest ones to me.
Yeah, so, crack on the knuckles. Yeah. So, Lantern, what's your ranking?
It's probably Batman versus Superman Ultimate Edition at number 1, and then Man of Steel, and then Wonder Woman, then Aquaman. Then Suicide Squad, then Justice League. It's Justice League. But when that Snyder cut comes out, it's probably going to be number 3.
Oh yeah, it's then just blow up our rankings right now.
Yeah, it's going to make and everybody will join me with Suicide Squad at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, no, because you would have Justice League at the bottom, unless we just
that doesn't count.
Yeah, we forget
like,
that completely happened.
I still see people count BVS theatrical. Like I still see that every once in a while. I'm like,
ranking.
Why?
It's so weird because you can watch the theatrical version pretty well. Yeah, because your mind is automatically like, oh, I know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Watch it on HBO. Yeah, exactly. So it works now.
The one thing that I was kind of curious about was that a lot of people have been putting Aquaman above Wonder Woman.
I think it's like the same, honestly. I think it's like kind of like close, Like
yeah, see, that's what's kind of surprising me. Like, I'm not. Shane and I have talked about that. We kind of felt Wonder Woman was a tad bit overrated. It kind of got pushed to the moon a little bit too hard by other people. But at the same time, I still feel like it's a superiorly. I guess it's what's important to you ultimately at the end, and dialogue is very important to me in a movie. And when I hear the dialogue in Aquaman compared to the dialogue in Wonder Woman, it's like leaps and bounds. So to me, Wonder Woman is like a far superior movie than Aquaman. But I guess if you're talking about like action and just the spectacle of a movie in general, I mean, I guess Aquaman would probably be up there pretty high because it's just the overall look of that movie is just amazing. Like what they accomplished with that movie is insane. On a technological bound, on an action bound, and everything. So I guess there could be a 50-50 back and forth. It depends really what is important to you.
I think that's well put. For me, dialogue is huge, and whatever I'm supposed to be feeling in a specific scene or in a specific movie, I want to be able to feel. And aside from the last, the third act of Wonder Woman,
which is really actually good all the way until Ares makes an appearance.
Yeah, it's
and even after he makes an appearance, when he's doing that flashback scene, that alternate Earth scene, that's still good. That's still good.
True. Yeah,
and then even when she picks up the tank and he's telling her that these people are bad, she's about to crush the shit out of Captain Poison there, Miss Poison, whatever. Dr. Poison, thank you, Captain. I'm doing terrible with names today.
Just today, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
just today.
And I'm like, it still holds up. It's just like I don't know. They should have shaved his fucking mustache. Is what they should have done. He looks like a moron.
CGI his mustache.
They should have CGI'd that out. Yeah.
Problem fucking solved.
And I mean, it holds up okay for the most part, and then after that, that's when the movie kind of falls apart when she defeats Ares, and then for some reason,
Yeah.
the Germans are all fucking butt hugging and shit
Yeah.
for no reason, because he said he didn't influence them, but yet they were influenced, and I'm confused. What's going on? Anyway, other than that,
Yeah, but that is such a very small part of the movie, and there's so many great parts for me in Wonder Woman that you just feel the emotion. You feel her struggle with humanity. What humanity's doing. You feel a lot of the moments, and even like the humor.
I was actually about to say.
The humor in Aquaman is god awful to me. There are hardly
it's
any
up and down for me.
Okay.
Jason Momoa makes jokes.
Yeah,
Funny.
but it's natural.
Everybody else,
yeah,
not funny.
right.
Well,
But
except for that fish joke with Aquaman.
But Steve Trevor and a lot of the stuff that happened in Wonder Woman is some of it's like, okay, that's to be expected, her with the ice cream cone or whatever.
Babies.
Babies and that stuff. But it works. And Steve Trevor is great in Wonder Woman. And we've said this before, Wonder Woman is the perfect balance for people who want a little bit more of a lighthearted movie. But there's still there's a story there. It's such a great story there. And that's what I feel that we're missing with Aquaman. We don't have those moments.
Yeah, because in DC movies, you get a lot of these epic moments. You get the No Man's Land in Wonder Woman. You get First Flight in Man of Steel. BVS, fuck, there's many. And that one,
There's a lot of epics, yeah.
The warehouse scene. I mean, just you get these big epic feel moments with the movie. And even for BVS, for Shane and I personally, the political talk about whether or not they need a Superman
Dialogue.
The dialogue.
That's like my favorite part of the movie.
Is like I don't know how. That's just like one of my favorite parts of the fucking movie. And maybe when Lex is giving his speech too at the end is awesome.
That's a great
it kind of
part.
ties in with that political talk. But you got all these moments, and you don't really have much in Justice League or Suicide Squad for the most part. I guess maybe Soup seeing Flash in the middle of that fight is kind of the big hurrah moment of that movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, in Aquaman, you got the fights, you got the moments, but I just don't feel that you don't get that No Man's Land, you don't get that First Flight, you don't get that swell of a joy or feeling towards anything
like
that's really
fuck
doing.
yeah.
Like
It's just, this is cool action. Like, wow, the CGI, like more of a wow.
Yeah,
not a fuck yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I just kind of feel like that's where this movie kind of fell down a little bit. Tried a little too much.
I'm still buying it, I'm still going to be buying it.
Yeah, you definitely buy this one.
Yeah.
You definitely buy this one.
I want to watch it a few more times and stuff like that.
I think we're going to go back and see it in IMAX.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go, we didn't see it in IMAX the first time. I think we might go back and power through the terrible chairs that are in our IMAX.
I know.
And see it that way. So last time we tried to do this, and Lantern completely had no clue what he was doing. So let's score the movie.
Yeah, I think I missed what you guys said or something.
Oh, he wasn't.
No.
He wasn't awake at all. But I guess let's give it a score, Shane.
All right, so my score has remained the same from the last time that we record. Spoilers, no one knows what it is. Is it that you will never hear that one?
Does.
But overall, it's a decent movie. It's enjoyable. That's the word that we used a lot in talking with non-spoiler and just in talks. It's an enjoyable movie. So I put it at 3.2 out of 5 marks.
I gave it a 3 out of 5 marks. Definitely a solid entry into DC movies. Hope it does well, and hopefully we can continue on with Shazam next.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Glass though.
Oh, I know.
Glass is coming.
That one looks good.
Dude, they're talking about Glass opening up at almost like $75 million, $80 million.
Oh, please. Like, I hope that it just continues to do incredibly well. And
I just want something different. That would be sweet. I just can't wait for that. That's just going to be so different. Anyway, sorry, Lantern.
Score.
My score. Probably like a 3.5 out of 5, Not quite a 4. But, I think there's a lot of good epic moments in the film. Like, just Orm alone, I think, is worth watching the movie just to see Patrick Wilson, because he just kills it in the movie. So, yeah, that's probably where I would sit. Yeah, he kills it.
Definitely kills it. Definitely kills it. Not even thinking about it. I really did. Yeah. I keep feeling like I forget about him. I shouldn't forget about him, but I do. But yeah, he's definitely up there. Top 3 villains of the DC universe. I mean, he's definitely up there as talk about one of the possible top villains in comic book movies in general. Really, he's up there. He's pretty sweet overall. So I think that's going to conclude this Mega Power podcast, brother.
Wait, real quick.
Oh, wait, no?
Lantern, did we forget anything? Because last time we did.
Oh, I don't know. What did we forget?
Nope, we didn't forget anything.
All right, perfect.
We're good. All right,
brother.
The end credits scene.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh man, the weird shit in this fucking show. Thank you again to Lantern2814 for coming back again.
No
and
problem.
Hopefully this one will be. It's not going to be the last podcast, but hopefully this podcast works.
Yes, exactly.
Holy crap!
That was me knocking on wood.
Yeah, and
Or
setup.
Yeah, taking down the mic. One of the two.
Hopefully this all works out, and we'll definitely do some more collaborations in the future.
Hell
I think that's the easiest way to do stuff. And oh man, and thanks again, Lantern.
No problem. Yeah, have a good one, guys.
You too. So we'll end it with this in case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. You know, all these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.